I recently posted about my beautiful, kind, compassionate cousin who tragically lost her battle with addiction. I received an outpouring of love and support and comments from those in heartbreakingly similar situations. Addiction truly is an epidemic in our country and in the world. So thank you all for having the courage to open up and talk about it. I also received many comments saying that addiction is a choice, not a disease. So I wanted to take the time to address these comments and hopefully we can have a meaningful, much needed conversation around this. Let's get into it. So first of all, I understand why you think that addiction is a choice. I mean, I chose to take that first drink, right? When I was 12 years old, I chose to drink that screwdriver. And I was wasted. But while the first use is by choice, once the brain has been changed by addiction, most experts believe the person loses control over their behavior. Seriously, just ask any of my ex-boyfriends. Also, choice does not determine whether or not something is a disease. Heart disease, diabetes, and some forms of cancer involve personal choices like diet, exercise, sun exposure, etc. A disease is what happens in the body as a result of those choices. Crazy, right? Addiction is even defined as a disease by most medical associations. I mean, if you don't believe some lanky bug-eyed influencer that addiction is a disease, maybe you'll believe the American Medical Association. So like diabetes, cancer, and heart disease, addiction is caused by a combination of behavioral, psychological, environmental, and biological factors. That was a lot of big words in one sentence. God damn, I feel smart. Oh, and did you know that genetic risk factors account for about half of the likelihood that someone will develop an addiction? Trust me, I know! Seriously, I wish you could be a fly on the wall at my family party. It's lit! Now, if you still think that addiction is a choice, I'm genuinely curious. When do you think we made this choice? Maybe elementary school? Okay, kids, we're gonna have some fun. Let's talk about what we want to be when we grow up. Timmy, you go first.
I want to be an astronaut.
Wow, Timmy, probably not gonna happen. Rebecca, what about you?
I want to be a baker because I like chocolate.
Wow, Rebecca, I can see that from your belly. Laura, how about you? What do you want to be?
I was thinking a raging drug addict / alcoholic.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I was thinking I want to be a raging drug addict / alcoholic, suicidal, maybe you have felony in there. Yeah, that's been my dream, yeah.
Ha! I knew addiction was a choice. So that lovely scenario I created for you has never happened! Also, why'd I make my teacher such a savage? So my point is, no one wants to be an addict. No one would choose that. Addiction is a chronic disease, not a moral failing. So if you're beating yourself up right now because you're struggling to get clean, please stop. You're sick. Would you beat yourself up if you had diabetes? You have a chronic disease. And that sounds really depressing. But please, don't worry because it's treatable. I am a recovering addict. I'm 8.5 years clean. We do recover. I'm healthy. I'm happy, more than not. I have great relationships with friends and family. I am truly living a life beyond my wildest dreams thanks to my sobriety. Recovery is possible. I'm proof. Addiction does not occur from a lack of willpower or an unwillingness to stop. The first time I drank, yes, I did it voluntarily. But with time, more and more and more and more and more and more alcohol and drugs were needed to achieve the same level of pleasure. And within a couple years, getting high and drunk became an obsession. And it caused real problems. I mean, I really shook shit up. Not just for me, but for my friends and family. And sadly, I didn't care. At the time, I thought it was because I was a selfish, self-seeking prick. Which I was. But also, progressive changes in my brain drove the compulsive, uncontrollable drug use known as addiction. I wasn't just a selfish prick. I was a sick, selfish prick. I was a selfish prick with a disease that made me a selfish prick. But why is willpower not enough? Like we discussed earlier, the initial decisions to use are usually based in choice. They're often influenced by culture and environment. Certain factors such as family history with addiction, trauma, untreated mental health issues make people more susceptible. But once the brain has been changed by addiction, that choice or willpower becomes impaired. So let's talk about the brain. This isn't coffee talk, this is brain talk. In a healthy, okay, I'm gonna stop talking like that. In a healthy brain, dopamine is released in response to natural rewards, such as food or exercise, as a way of saying, that was good. But drugs hijack dopamine pathways, teaching the brain that drugs are good too. Hey, crack is good too. Shut up. Ow! So why am I telling you this? Because understanding the brain's role in addiction can help reduce the stigma and negative attitudes of those struggling with addiction. And also, willpower suppresses trauma. It is nearly impossible to overcome addiction with suppressed pain. We gotta uncover, discover, discard that shit. I had to learn to forgive, make amends, keep my side of the street clean. We will not be able to get to the root of our issues and get better by continuing to fight a silent, shame-filled battle. Oh, I got heated there. Unfortunately, people do not get to choose how their brains and bodies react to substances, which is why I'm an addict and my friend Holly isn't. Our brains react differently. But guess what, Holly? I can eat an entire bag of peanuts. You can't! She's got a peanut allergy. Our bodies are different. Poor Holly eats something with peanuts in it, she's breaking out into hives. I have a glass of alcohol, and next minute I know I end up in Tijuana with some random Irish guy I met at a bar once. At least I can have peanuts. But the good news! People with addiction can stop using. So I hope someone somewhere learned something here. People with addiction should not be blamed or shamed for having a disease, but rather be able to get quality care to address it. With the help and support of family, friends, peers, fellow alcoholics to stay in treatment, we increase our chances of recovery and survival. So what do you say? Let's end the stigma and shame around addiction. Just imagine if there was stigma and shame around cancer. No. Just because someone has an addiction, it doesn't mean they're weak, that they're immoral, that they're out there just having a good time at the expense of society, friends, and family. They are simply sick with a chronic disease, and their brain has been impaired in many important ways. They need support, they need treatment, they need recovery, because the shame and the guilt and the secrecy and the stigma will make it harder for them to ask for help. Thank you guys for listening. Share this video to your friends and family and comment below your thoughts. I love you guys and I appreciate your support more than you know.